Good evening, everybody. It's my pleasure to welcome you again to another episode of the Giving Back series from Max-Migold Limited, the free facility management training. I'll be training again today. My name is Paul Erubami. I hope everyone can see my video. And everyone can hear my audio very clearly and also see my screen. If you do, kindly indicate by raising your hand, and then I'll know that all is clear on the side. Okay, fantastic. I think I'm getting clear signals that everybody are all connected. So welcome. Just for the information of everybody who's probably here for the first time, this series started early February. We've been doing this every week since February, and it's going to end by the end of June. So it's almost a half year of weekly training sessions. And I hope that for those who have been part of it for several of the episodes, we will be able to hear your feedback through your reviews on social media platforms, on LinkedIn, on Google, Google My Business, on Facebook. We'll appreciate those kind of promotions to get other people aware of the value of this program. Just also to point out that about 25 or so people from this series have taken the plunge, have taken the, taken the challenge to join the Facility Management Mastercraft Diploma that started yesterday. It was awesome. We had about 30 plus people in that class yesterday, and they're going to be in class 3 times every week, 3 hours each session for 3 months. So you can imagine the volume, content, and quantity and quality of knowledge and skills that will be imparted through this FM Mastercraft Diploma. Just to let you know too that the class is still open. We usually will admit people for the first 2 weeks after the class has started, because we normally will give you all the materials and do some form of rehearsal to help you catch up when you join a week or 2. But after 2 weeks, you have to wait for the next batch, which starts on September the 8th. September 8th is just barely 3.5 months away. So for those who had challenges with funding and other reasons why they could not join the program, I would say start registration now and start securing your spot by making some deposits towards that class. It's an exciting opportunity for me to be sharing all of this from 25 years of experience working at various levels, at the highest levels and in various positions across the FM world and Nigeria especially. Today we're taking a very so today's class is really not the class for beginners. Okay, so I'll say it's not the class for beginners. It's a class that we typically will share or teach to people who are very experienced, who have a lot of years in the industry and have struggled with how to climb to the top in their career and how to gain recognition in the organizations they work in. We teach it to those who come to the FM Mastercraft deliberately because it takes them only 2 years from when they finish their FM Mastercraft Diploma to rise to the level of people who have been working in the FM industry for 12 to 15 years. And that's because they have learned some of the high level top secrets that stands you out, things that helps you to operate at strategic level that people will not normally teach to facility managers any day. It doesn't. These things don't form part of the typical FM training for most organizations. And so you find that we are doing it here. We're doing it here because we want you to acquire all the skills quickly, rise up quickly, and become a strategic enabler to your business organization, as well as one who elevates the profession of facility management. That's why we are doing this, okay? And then bringing it to the free training is also to help many people who probably have struggled with understanding management, understanding how to relate with senior executives in the organizations where they work, where they think that they are not being heard or their opinions are not being, given consideration. By the time you finish this class today, you'll realize that it's not about management trying to understand you or where you are coming from or all the things you think you know technically. It's about you understanding your organization. And this is going to just throw light into what makes the difference between a successful, prosperous, and illustrious FM career and an ordinary person who finds himself in FM and wanders through the profession till retirement. Okay. So the first thing I would like to talk about today is what I call the big picture. The big picture takes you away as an FM from your day-to-day activities, from the things that everybody expects you to be doing as FM. These are the things that people just expect that once you're an FM, you put diesel in the gen, you put it on, you check the stock level of stuff and things in store, you take care of cleaners who clean and all that. They just see you as that's your job. And once you are doing your job, you are an FM, right? Now, if you don't understand the big picture, nothing you do at the level of FM, or what I may call the operational level of FM, will be strategic, will be focused, will be impressive, will help you show that you are doing the right things. Okay? And that's why we need to get you to the level of strategy where you can see things from a 30,000 foot perspective, from a bird's eye view. And because you are seeing things from that broader, bigger picture, you tend to do the micro things with better understanding. And if you have a better understanding of the macro, the big picture, the way you attend to details, the way you attend to all the daily operational activities will be different. That is how you know this person is special versus those who are ordinary. It starts with you understanding the highest level of strategy, which is called the strategic purpose level. The strategic purpose level focuses on why that organization exists. Every organization exists because of a certain group of people they want to provide their services or goods to. Those are called customers. You will not have conceived of any business idea, any religious activity, any social activity, if you have not come up with the need, the problem to be solved, the need to be satisfied, the problem to be solved, the opportunity to be taken advantage of, all by people who you should already know by now will need your service. What am I saying? A school is not built if there's no idea that there will be students. And the idea that there will be students is not just that we're building a school because there will be students, but because we want a certain type of student, a certain category of students who needs certain things, differentiating features of our offerings. That's why we set up a school. That's why we set up a church. That's why we set up a business to start manufacturing, to start a banking operation. All of these are born out of knowledge of the customers, knowledge of the needs of the customers, knowledge of the problems the customers are having that you think you can solve, knowledge of the opportunities the customers will want to take advantage of that you can become an enabler for. This is the highest level of reasoning for every organization. Why should you, as a facility manager who is providing support services to the organization, to the core business, even want to care about this level of strategy? Why is it important to you to know the customers that the organization is catering for? Why is it important to you to know the category, the demographic, the kind of people? Because you are providing spaces and services that will enable the core business. Who are the core business, by the way? They are talents that have been attracted by the business to come and help produce the solutions the business needs to provide to its customers, right? So your first encounter, your first experience is providing space and services for those people in the core business to succeed in developing the solutions. So the business exists because of a need by customers. You provide the space and the service for those who are going to provide that solution, isn't it? Now, the way you provide that solution to your internal customers is going to rub off on the external customers or the end users of the services that your organization provides. How you pay attention to redundancies in critical infrastructure like power to the server, critical infrastructure like elevator access for very busy malls, for example, critical infrastructure like water supply for public places where you have high footfalls, is because you understand the kind of customers, you understand the kind of preferences. It's not in every situation you can go about cleaning any time of the day. Some customers will be irked, disappointed to see you in your work clothes at certain times of the day in certain places in the environment that you're managing. Because you understand those kind of customers expect some level of professionalism and some level of discretion, confidentiality when they come to do business in your environment. What do? You schedule your cleaning, your maintenance activities, your technicians' appearances away from that kind of timing when the customer is in the environment or in the space. That's because you understand the preference of those customers. You don't want to do anything that will trigger a bad impression of your organization. Let me give you a typical example. If you serve a bakery, let me take it from the standpoint of someone who is actually going to buy a service as a customer. If you know two brands of bread in the market, you go to the market every time, they are both 300 naira per loaf, the same size, they taste the same. And every time you go to the market, you just pick anyone that's available because it doesn't make any difference. But on one occasion, you had the chance to go visit the bakeries where this bread is produced and brought to the market. In one of the bakeries, you went in there and you found a very beautiful, well-scented, clean reception. The site, the compound is very clean. The grass is cut and clean. The flowers are trimmed. Everything looks so nice. You go into the reception and you don't even smell any of those butter fats and all of those smoke and charcoal that you smell that makes up that environment of a bakery. Everything looks so clean. And then you visit the next bakery, maybe because you want to make inquiries or you want to buy some bulk supplies for your picnic or something, and you find the exact opposite. Everything is in disarray. The entire environment is dirty and unkempt. If you go to the market again to buy bread, would you care to look at the brands and say, I don't care about the brands? Would you still take it for granted that both of them, it doesn't matter, they're the same size, the same taste? I tell you no. You will definitely have an automatic preference for the one that had a very clean environment. You get the impression that there must be something better about the bread they make, that they will make less mistakes. You won't have the fear of cockroaches being in the dough, or something worse happening to the bread you're going to eat, or that people who are undressed or not having the proper PPEs will sneeze when the dough is being mixed. You won't have any of such fears because you've seen that environment is high tech. So what are we saying here? The difference between two environments that we just described is facility management. Has nothing to do with the quality of the bread. So as facility managers, you create impressions in the minds of your customers, whatever the business, whatever the organization, a church, a mosque, a cemetery, a factory, a hotel, a bank, an office complex, a mall, whatever it is. You, the facility manager, the way you do your job must reflect your understanding of the organization's customers, the reason for its being. And that is the strategic purpose level. Every organization will, based on the understanding of its customers, produce strategic planning for the entire organization. They will develop a mission, a vision, certain sets of values, culture, and strategic objectives. These are put in place to guide their delivery of solutions that the customers will pay for. These will be put in place to ensure that customers are attracted, provided for, and retained, and that customer loyalty is entrenched, that through customers that you get now, you can get more customers. And that's the whole idea of the mission, setting up missions, vision, values, culture, strategic objectives. If as a facility manager, you don't understand what your organization's mission or vision is, there's a disconnect. You cannot be doing anything right. You must not only understand this high-level strategic planning of your organization, you must internalize them. I dare say that you must understand your business plan. You are not the one running the business, but you must know what goes on in the minds of the CEOs and the other directors and exactly the direction they are trying to take the business to. You must understand this. If you don't, you'll keep making mistakes. And that's what we are trying to teach here. Facility managers must understand the business plan, must understand the business model. Who are we targeting as customers? What are we providing as solution? What is the pain points of these customers? And what solution are we providing to solve those pain points? Who is paying us for our services? How are they paying? How are they making the money that they are paying to us as an organization? Where do we spend most of our funds? What are our major inputs? What are our overheads? What are our major costs for delivering the solutions? Those are some of the things that make up the business model, and the facility manager needs to understand them. Sometimes there will be shifts in the system due to a recession or due to some other macroeconomic factors. There could be some other things affecting your business that would affect cash flow, that will affect customer retention. Maybe some big competitors have made some massive investments in the industry that you serve. Should you be aware of these changes as a facility manager? Should you be able to read the handwriting on the wall when your organization is being hit will you also be aware? Will you be notified? Will you be conscious of changes that are going to lead to expansion for your business? When the economic situations become favorable for your business, are you sleeping through this process? Are you going to wake up one day and say, oh, no, give me enough notice? You can't just tell me to provide space for 200 more staff within the next 3 months. How am I going to do that? Where have you been? Have you been sleeping all along? All of a sudden, you look incompetent because you can't meet the challenges of a changing business environment. Why? You have not been looking at the strategic plans of the organization. You've not been looking at the things that have been causing change to the organization. And that's what we're trying to correct here. When the organization has the strategic planning level established with its mission, vision, values, culture, and strategic objectives in place, the organization begins to create a scenario where various departments can create their own strategic planning. So the business units needs to create their own strategic plan. So the IT department will come up with transition plans from one IT platform to another. They will create all kinds of subscriptions, ERP, migration plans. The marketing teams will put in place digital marketing plans. They will create a digital transformation agenda for the organization. All are plans to meet the organization's strategic goals and objectives. What should be happening to the facility management business unit? If you don't consider facility management as a business unit already, that's a mistake. That's a problem in itself. Okay? So you need to create a strategic facility plan for the facility management organization. And that's the whole essence of today's lesson. What do we put into the strategic facility plan? What does it entail? And I will put in more light into this. It is a plan that not only aligns with the organization and says, I understand where my organization is going. I know what spaces and services they will require to get there in the next 3 years, in the next 5 years. But it's a plan that also aligns with all the other business units. I am the one that's enabling the marketing to succeed. I am the one that's enabling the procurement to succeed. I'm the one that's enabling the IT to succeed. I'm the one that's enabling production to succeed. I'm the one providing them the spaces and services that are required for them to deliver. And so my plans must also align with theirs. I must be getting understanding from what they are doing, how they are planning for the future, so that I can put plans in place to serve them as they grow, or to serve them as they shrink, depending on the situation. I must be one step ahead of the curve as a facility manager. I bet you're wondering, is this still facility management right now? This looks like the guys who run the business. We used to be outsiders. We are called to go and help buy a generator and help to put a cleaning contract in place. But I tell you, if you begin to think about the business that you sell to this level of strategy, put on your innovative cap and thinking hat, you will see a lot of the suggestions that will be coming from you. A lot of the ideas that will be coming from you. A lot of the analysis that will be coming from you, taking you higher because you will be listened to. What do we do as FMs? Mostly at the tactical planning level. Operations plans, maintenance plans, budgets for the year, design and construction plans. Many FMs, if they have operations plan in place for this year, have budget for this year and maybe next year, they think they have strategized sufficiently. They keep going back to departments and the CEOs and central management to ask questions and ask input into short-term plans. If you don't have long-term plans, you are not doing the short-term plans correctly. Your operations plans are all false and wrong. Your maintenance plans are all out of place. Your budgets are all padded. Your design and procurement and construction plans are not in line with the organization's goals if you do not have your own strategic facility plan. All of these tactical plans are supposed to be drawn from your master plan and your strategic facility plan. There are two different documents that need to be produced by facility managers. Many FMs have been in this industry for years, 15 years, 17 years in the industry, have never for once sat down to prepare a facility master plan. So all of those tactical plans that we've been doing all along, I can tell you they've all been wrong because they miss out on important elements that should have been drawn from the strategic plans. If you don't know why, which is the answer that strategy gives, strategy answers why. How will always be wrong. If you know why you are doing something, the way you do it will be more attuned. And that's what we're talking about here. If you have the tactical plans in place, you should not just go on operating from day to day. You must have the execution level, which is how you put contracts in place, how you develop rosters to get people to work, how you recruit people, how you procure. All of those things come from the execution level. But then you must have measuring tools. Performance must be measured. Performance measurement comes out of the data that your day-to-day activities and operations generate. So what are we saying here? You don't execute until you have tactical plans. You don't draw tactical plans put your tactical plans in place unless you have strategic plans. And then as you're executing, you are measuring performance through reporting and data gathering and analysis, because you will need that data to validate your strategy. You are going to compare the final output of your performance measurement with your overall strategy. So you're going to have a backward flow to check back at your strategy and say, is this strategy I put in place, is it working? If it is working, is it giving me the desired results? Is it giving me the results in good time? All this analysis needs to be done before you can say, I am working with the big picture in mind. I have a strategy and I'm deploying it. So in essence, the FM organization, whether you are a department within an organization or you are a contracting organization who comes in to work for that organization, you must be able to envision your future by linking your purpose to the strategy of the overall organization, and then develop goals, objectives, and action plans to achieve that future. If you don't already understand the organization's strategy, you cannot even create goals, objectives, and action plans that align. Okay? A 2 to 5 year plan that encompasses all of your portfolio of owned and leased spaces that sets strategic facility goals based on the organization's strategic business objectives. And that's what we're talking about. It is from those strategic business objectives of the organization, you create your own goals as an FM department, and it's from those strategies you've created as an FM department, you create your tactical and then operational plans. But how do we do this? Let's start by using the planning process. You have to first understand the organization's mission, vision, values, and goals. Like I said before, what are the financial performance, the metrics in the area of finances, customer knowledge, internal business processes, and learning and growth. These are balanced scorecard metrics for analyzing and understanding your business. Many organizations have these in place, but they don't share it with us in FM because you know why? They just think that we are not at that level. But if you start showing understanding, start with the annual reports from your organization. Start looking at the business plans. Start digging up all information about competitors. It shows that you are trying to deepen understanding. Then you have analysis. You're going to use analytical techniques such as SWOT, scan scenario planning, to explore the range of possible futures and the triggers used to analyze an organization's facility needs. I had an experience once where an organization invited me for an interview for a role, a very senior role. But before I went in to meet with the executives of this organization, I did my thorough analysis on their business. And one thing I found out that was very significant was they were going to be packing out of this country in less than 3 to 5 years. That's their strategic plan. So after about 2 hours of almost like an onboarding, because they were so satisfied I was the right man for the job, I had to pop the question, what happens to my career when you guys eventually pack off and leave? I think the bubble burst at that point. Many FMs work in organizations that are winding down. They are the last to know that they are winding down. Many FMs keep spending money as if they don't understand that their businesses are not making money the way they used to make money. And when the organization is going to make its first, see, get the point. If the funds coming in slows down and management cannot find a way quickly to show up or increase how much comes in, they will need to look straight at how much they are spending. And you know what? You are one of the biggest spenders. In fact, you are the second largest spender for overhead categories. If you are the last to notice that they are coming for you, so that you have done your analysis and start making adjustments and start making recommendations for a different path that aligns with the new cost structure that should be commensurate with the inflows, you'll be the first to be kicked out. And that's what happens to many FM departments. An entire department will be outsourced and you'll be told you no longer work for this company. We have let you go. If you want to work for the contractor, go and apply to the contractor. Why do you think that happened without you being warned? Because you were sleeping. You weren't doing any analysis. You were busy asking for money to go and do operational activities. You were not putting your head into anything strategic. You were not even thinking about the business, whether they're going to survive or not. If you do analysis, we'll talk about a few of these analyses in a bit. You'll now come up with the plans that meet the long-range needs of the organization. You review these plans annually and update them periodically. You take actions as planned, that's the acting stage, and implement these actions. You incorporate feedback into the next plan. So that's why it's a cycle. And that's why when we looked at the big picture, you get down to execution, performance measurement, and then validation of strategy. It goes on as a cycle. So every year you keep reviewing those strategies, you keep revising them, you keep doing things differently. And that's a very a big plus for you. So what is the stage of understanding? What does it entail? What does understanding entail? Understanding involves identifying all the facilities that you have, their types, quantity, location, or spaces needed by the organization. What you are doing here basically is you are trying to understand what you have and you're trying to compare it to what you have factored that the organization will need to meet the objectives that it has set in the next year, next 2 years, next 3 years, next 5 years. And then I asked my friends, how many square meters are you managing? You don't have a clue. How many people do you have in your organization? You don't even have a clue. What are the ranks of the various people? How many males, how many females? You know, that's not your job. Why do you want to know that? Have there been new employments? Have there been new people joining? Do you have a clue? How the organization have been increasing in staff strength, or have they been dwindling in the last 2 to 3 years? Many don't even know. You just know that they ask you to provide spaces and you have provided spaces. That is a failing proposition. You must have in-depth analysis of the existing facilities, achievable and affordable plan to meet the organization's needs, because you understand the business plan. You cannot create a gap analysis. If the business is going to be able to become number one according to the strategic plan in our industry in 5 years, that means if the current number one has 300 staff and we currently have 100 staff, that means we will have exceeded 300 staff to become number one. Typical example. If the current number one has lots of assets, properties across the country, they probably don't have lease spaces or very little lease spaces. How do I transition us from renting temporary structures into our own edifice as number one eventually? You are setting goals that align, but you are basing those goals on your understanding of the current situation. You have a vision now of where the services and facilities and assets will be, and you are creating things that helps you achieve or deliver them as the time runs by. Understanding also requires that you have data about every asset that you have. How old are they? When I talk about asset register, I teach asset register for a whole day to FMs. And that's one of the key things that's going to come out in the FM Mastercraft Diploma. You cannot manage what you don't know. There are at least 18 to 25 characteristics of every asset that you manage that you must know. I'm not talking about knowing them in some spreadsheet that is filed off forever. It should be on a dashboard that you open up to every day as you resume work. Your inspections are based on it. Your strategic plans are based on it. Your operations plans are based on it. Your employment and recruitment plans, your procurement plans are all based on it. Your budgets are based on it. You must be able to anticipate services, anticipate staffing changes. FMs will tell me, oh, how do I know they are going to hire? You are not tuned in. That's why you don't know they are going to hire. You don't even know when your company has won a new contract that's going to be huge. You didn't even know that the company has been working for 2-3 years to win that contract. Now the contract is on the table. They are bringing 50 expatriates from abroad, employing 200 more staff locally, and they tell you as the FM, provide space for them within the next 3 weeks, and you say, oh, they want to kill me. You have been sleeping, and that has to change. You must be able to create scenario planning as part of your analysis. Envisage what kind of changes can possibly happen and use those scenario considerations to anticipate best case, worst case, most likely for different scenarios, and begin to suggest potential strategies in each of these scenarios to respond to the changes. Propose strategies that must be addressed in order to respond to possible external changes. So whether changes are going to happen internally to the organization or externally, you should be doing some analysis that helps you identify possible shifts, possible directions of these changes, so you can begin to put plans in place as a facility manager. One of these analyses is the SWOT analysis: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You should be able to analyze some of these for the organization. What are your strengths as a business or an organization? Attributes of the organizations that are helpful to achieving the objective. Be able to describe how you are able to leverage that internal strength or attributes. Weaknesses are attributes of the organizations that are harmful to achieving the objectives. How can we work against our internal weaknesses? How can we beef up our staff capacity by training? What can we do? Those are considerations that must be made during the times of assessing your weaknesses. What are the things that makes the organization unable to get to where it professes it wants to get to? What opportunities do we have? External conditions helpful to achieving the objective. Macroeconomic factors, competitors packing up, forex becoming stable and funds becoming available for the business, a high level of skills because some organization is turning out trainees who are highly skilled. These are opportunities. Are you aware of the opportunities your business can harness? And then the threats, external conditions that can be harmful. So look at SWOT as positive and negative. The positive, internal positive are the strengths, then external positive are the opportunities. Whereas the internal negatives are the weaknesses and the external negatives are the threats. Just being able to make a list of factors, perspective, occurrences, and put them in these categories is enough for you to begin to have an idea of where the organization is going to. What do you plan? You start your planning by creating a gap analysis. A gap analysis puts your strategic thinking of where the future is on one end, your analysis of your current situation on another end. You are looking at these two ends and say, this is where we are right now as an FM department. Are we even meeting the organization's current requirements? Are we still having complaints, or are we already getting commendations? Are we doing well already? Then we close the current gap. We meet the needs of the organization for now. And then we begin to project into our future plans of things we need to change, implement, execute, so that we can meet the organization's requirements in alignment with what that requirement is for the future. If you're not already able to even do the basic things to help the organization survive today, what kind of plans will you have in place to help the organization meet its long-term goals? So you need to solve today's problems, understand them, solve them, and then prepare a plan that helps you solve tomorrow's problem. Evaluate the sites, the zoning, the cost, labor, competition, and all factors critical for success. Conduct financial and risk analysis to focus on finding the maximum value. Don't just keep spending. You must have a financial plan that brings value. Develop alternatives, recommendations, and priorities. One of the courses you will come through in the Facility Management Mastercraft Diploma is how to develop business cases that are bought into. No matter how smart you are, if management cannot understand, listen to you because you've not earned that credibility, you can't do well. You can have 200 proposals a year. If none of them is deployed, you have failed as well. So come up with alternative recommendations so that there will always be one option that would align, that management will see eye to eye with, and not kick away your recommendation, trash them aside. Develop a process for marketing the recommended strategic facility plan to gain management approval. And that's the point I just made. Management must approve it before you can implement it. And then get all the other financial approvals that go with it. What do you hope to get out of this? A strategic facility plan will produce the strategic facility plan itself as the first output, and then the master plan, which is the second output, and then your annual plans, which is the third output. The strategic facility plan output is portfolio-wide strategy. When you plan and make decisions about things that will be common to all your sites and all your facilities, then you are making strategic facility plan, putting it in place. For example, you are deciding on certain site branding decisions. You are taking decisions on sustainability issues, energy mix considerations from site to site. You are taking decisions on CSR initiatives that will go across all your locations. What you are doing is taking high-level decisions that will be implemented on every site. that you manage. So if you're managing a bank, for example, your strategic facility plan will contain points that will be considered and implemented across all locations. Your master plan, on the other hand, have considerations for long-term planning decisions, but for one location. That's why it's called a master plan. Most of your architectural site planning and layouts, your phase development plans, where you put in one floor or one building, and in 2 years' time, you put in another one, or in 5 years' time, you need to have a 10-story building in that site. Those are all master plan considerations for that location. Both the strategic facility plan and the master plan are both long-term plans, but strategic facility plan is portfolio-wide. The master plan is for a single site. The annual facility plan is the one we often call your tactical plans. These are your budgets, your project plans. They are the things that you draw from your master plan and strategic facility plan. When you are asked to defend a budget, for example, you refer to your master plan as your defense. Your master plan and strategic facility plan are the high-level answers to the question, why are we doing this? Whereas your tactical plan, your budgets, your project plans are answers to the questions, how are we doing this? So if you look at the two plans, the strategic facility plan will include a statement of facility objectives, risk analysis of options, sustainability analysis, sources and uses of funds, operating expenses analysis, all of those financial metrics, life cycle and sustainability issues, costs, cost benefits, rating of alternatives, recommendations with clearly stated assumptions. All of these are considerations that will cover every site. But if you look at the facility master plan, they are more like architecture and engineering plans, zoning regulation, covenant assessment, space standards, program of space use, workflow analysis, block fits and stacking plans, and on and on. It's solutions. You may have a site in VI and have another site in Egbeda or in Benin, for example. They will all answer to the strategic facility plan, but the master plan will be different. You probably are stacking up in VI because the land is not so much and you don't have all that sprawling space. Whereas in other places that there's a lot of land, you probably can build, a sprawling campus. And they will still all have different master plans, but satisfy the requirements of the strategic facility plan. Finally, you act, implement your sustainability facility plan. It requires development of tactical projects in new space. If we're looking at where we are going, are we adding new space? Are we reducing the space that we have? Are we reconfiguring the spaces? Are we adding new services? Are we now going to start providing lunch in meetings or in offices? Are we going to start having a crèche? Because strategy includes that we're going to build a crèche and take care of the rising generation of baby boomers in the workplace. All of these considerations are now going into specific projects that you are delivering. Why do you think your projects are not being accepted? Why do you think every time you bring up an idea, it's being turned down? Why do you think it looks as if you and management can't see eye to eye? It's because you are developing tactical plans, operational plans that have no anchor. They're not anchored on anything strategic. If I develop plans and projects, and I can tie them to what management is, what's giving management sleepless nights, what they want to achieve, what they have espoused, problems and that I've analyzed that's affecting the business, and I'm bringing solutions. What do you think is going to happen? I'm not only going to be listened to, I am going to be getting approvals. I'm going to be getting funding. I'm not going to only be getting funding and approvals to execute projects. I'm going to be elevating myself my career, my profession in the eye of management. I will be seen as an internal. I will not be seen as an outsider. This is critical for FM success. What makes FMs to rise? What makes the facility manager to become the best at what he or she does? What makes the FM that person that cannot be let go, no matter how much things dwindle? Have you thought about it? Why are FMs the ones to be knocked first with cuts? Reduce your cost, drop some stuff, do this and do that. Why? Because we are allowing all of the thinking to be done by management. We are not participating in management thinking. Do you think you would ever one day become the last man standing when the organization says we no longer can cope with this wage bill? We want to let everybody go. This is one way you can become that last man standing. Do you also ever think that you will be recommended for invitation for a position to head departments that are overseeing the FM departments in the core business? You can only get there if you start having strategic thinking, strategic planning as a way of doing things. And it starts with understanding the business, all the way up to understanding the customer. Some FMs will say, our business is mostly online. I don't have any business with the customer. My dear, you do have business with the customer. If you understand exactly what happens online for an online mall or for an online transaction-based business, you will know what 1 minute of power disruption or internet disruption to a server means to that business. You'll be able to calculate how much loss that will mean in terms of customer credibility, in terms of customer loyalty, in terms of loss of business and funds for the mission at that point. You will no longer be the one coming to tell people in the office you're servicing the gen or you're washing the tank. That's why they should be patient with you. They should understand that you also need to do your work the way they are doing their job. No. You don't come to work like them. You don't come to work with them. You come to work for them. That's what FM work is. We come to work so that the core business can achieve its goal and succeed. Thank you very much. That's the class lesson for today. We're going to allow questions and answers. We're going to devote 15 minutes to questions and answers. I'm just going to permit you to be able to ask your questions now. Okay, so the way the question and answering will go is that you raise your hand on the screen in your Zoom app, and then I'll call your name, and then I'll unmute you so that you can ask your question, okay? Okay, just a note to those who might have 1 or 2 persons out there who says they couldn't get in. Please let them know that we couldn't admit anybody who did not sign in with his name. There have been quite a handful who did not sign in with their names. We didn't admit any device into the class for security reasons. We're going to maintain it that way going forward. So if you don't have a Zoom account, it's free. You need to create a Zoom account so that you'll be admitted into the classes properly. Because I see a handful of people who couldn't join today simply for that reason. We will not allow names like HP and Techno device names to come into the classes so that we know exactly who we are admitting into the class, okay? So please help us explain to anybody that you think is having this issue and unable to get to class today. All right, so I'm seeing hands up. I'm going to ask Temitokbe to ask his question first. I'm unmuting you right now. Yes, please go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Good evening, sir. And thank you so much for the training. Now, I believe that in the gap analysis, the customer's expectation from the FM and what the FM delivers to the customer at the end of the day, if you actually analyze, there is a gap in between. How can we meet up this gap? Because I know when the customer expectation has been filled, they lose credibility in the FM. But how do we now make up for this gap so that we can give their credibility?
Thank you. Good question. Thank you very much. Okay, so you don't set what you want to do until you understand what the customer wants. What most FM do that becomes a problem is that they design the service, they design the space all by themselves. This is how we deliver our service. That is a blunder. The first survey you do as an FM is not the survey asking customer how we did. No, your first survey is asking customer, what do you need? What are you trying to achieve? What can we do to make you successful? Do that successfully, and your service design, your space array, your provisions, your goods and service provision will be closer. And that's the biggest thing that causes problem. Do not create a contract for contractor without having a contract with your building users. That contract is an SLA, agreed to, signed to. That's what you translate into the contract SLA for the building contractors who come to serve you, okay? Chilima, your question. 1 minute. I don't know why I'm finding it difficult to unmute you. Chilima, can you unmute yourself?
I'm sorry, sir. I don't have a question. I think it's an error.
Okay, your hands were still up. Okay, thank you. Okay, stay muted then. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to pass the mic now to Kayode. Kayode, your hand's up, so I presume you have a question.
Okay, sir. Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Thank you for the training, sir. Okay, you made mention of strategic facility plan that as FM, we need to understand what the overall organization goal is. But how about the situation that the contract was outsourced for your company who employed you, and on getting to the site, there is actually an in-house facility department that you're working with, but due to probably past experience with other FM that your company deployed to the place, there's been this kind of issue, and you've not been able to get all those information that you needed. Then just go. What they want you to do is just do the tactical thing and then go. That's all they want you to do. How do you resolve that? How do you break those kind of
okay, so first things first. We are not really entitled to data or information on strategy. We need to earn them. And the way to earn them is to go seeking them and showing that we care about the organization strategy. They will begin to open up to us if we are doing things that tends to align with what they expect. If you come in and they say, you know what, that's it, do what I've asked you to do, and don't bother me, I take care of my strategy, that's fine. You can't push it. But the little you understand about their business and what they are trying to achieve, let it influence the way you do your thing. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, sir. Very,
Thank you.
Well. Thank you,
all
sir.
Right, cool. So let me take, can you meet yourself? Whose hand is up again? Okay. I see that the lesson is well taken. I just want to say thank you to everybody for being here. If you're still interested in taking a place in the FM Mastercraft Diploma, we still have openings through this week. if you have a means to pay a deposit by next week or next 2 weeks, just send me an email to training@maxmigold.com explaining your commitment, and I'll let you into class tomorrow, okay? You would have missed only one class and you get the material for that class. If you want to schedule yourself for the September batch because your hands are full, not because of money, because I've taken away the issue of people not having money to join this program as much as possible by accommodating all the installments up to 6 months in such bits. So if you want to join in for September, kindly register now so that you'll be enlisted for the September 8th resumption, okay? You really need your FM career to be uplifted, to be upgraded. You really need to have options in the way you do your job. Many people are stuck in a job right now and they don't know where to go because they know that no one else will recognize that experience as valuable. Once you have a diploma in your hand, a comprehensive training, you are recognized by all organizations as competent, as trained. Many people who have graduated from our programs in the last 2-3 years have actually changed jobs because their value has become so high that if their current employers have not noticed it, others from outside in one interview will bring them on board. We had somebody who was in class for just 7 weeks. On the 7th week, she got employed as the head of FM for a merchant bank, a very big one at that. And those are the kind of things we see as testimonials for those who come for the Mastercraft diploma. I'll encourage you, don't think money is an issue because we can resolve all issues around money. And as many people as possible are invited to join the FM Mastercraft diploma. It's 100% virtual. It's a formal class, but it's 100% by Zoom, okay? And we encourage you to take opportunity there. Thank you very much. I hope we have been able to cover the topics for today and look forward to our next week. Next week's class is going to happen exactly this same time, and it's going to happen between 6 and 7:15 worst case scenario. So thank you very much and have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
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 Thank you so much,
Have a
sir.
nice day.
Very grateful.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you for the support.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Paul.
Welcome.
Please, I will private talk to you. I need the materials. I'm sorry for coming late.
Those who want the
Thank you very
materials,
much,
if you've
sir.
not heard how to get the materials, just send a message on WhatsApp with 3 things you learned from the lesson. So 080-220-20122, and you get the materials.
Mr. Can you come again?
080-220-20122. Send 3 lessons learned from this class to that number by WhatsApp. You will get the material sent to you by WhatsApp, okay?
The number, sir, is not clear. The number is not clear.
080-220-230-20.
All right, 20.
122.
Okay, 20.
122.
122. Okay, sir. Thank you very much,
All
sir.
right, thank you guys. Have a nice evening. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye-bye.